look, I've gone back and forth on Jared Goff. When the Lions got to the Super Bowl with him, 53, lost to the Patriots. He had Brandon Cooks wide open, second half, championship throw, failed to make it. Jason McCourty got over and broke it up because even though they did the same play in the first half and it worked and Brandon Cooks was wide open and they did it again in the second half, Goff saw him too late and threw it just a little too far to the side so McCourty could get there. They soured on him after they paid him the big contract. They shouldn't have given him the big contract. They soured on him. They thought this is a guy that's never going to get us to a Super Bowl and win it. They get Matthew Stafford. They were proven right. But then Goff got better, and he's gotten better. And last night was the best we've seen, really, him or any other quarterback play statistically and just overall. They're 18 for 18 for nearly 300 yards. And they need him to get better. When they paid him this year, and he's one of the few guys that got paid a lot of money this offseason who has gotten better. They challenged him to get better. This isn't your reward. This is a benchmark. We expect you to live up to this. We expect you to play better. We're giving you this money with an express directive, a mandate. We want you to get better. And through 4 weeks, he has.
No question. Mike, I root for him. I love the Jared Goff story because this year when we talk about quarterbacks who have had kind of a rebirth or renaissance, Sam Darnold with your Vikings and Baker Mayfield really the last couple of years. He was great last year and he was just great the other day against Philadelphia. When we talk about these quarterbacks who have kind of moved around and have found themselves, well, I think Jared Goff is like he's the captain of that team, and he's the captain of that team with a twist because he did. The other guys, you could say, well, they really didn't have success at the first stop. Well, we just talked about Super Bowl 53. Jared Goff was there with the Rams. He got the team. He played great in the NFC Championship game that year, and so he went to the Super Bowl. They scored 3 points. He wasn't at his best, but neither was Sean McVay. McVay talks about it, where he wasn't prepared for what Bill Belichick did to him. So I feel like he really took the brunt of some of the failures that the Rams had. They put it all on him. And when they got rid of him, it's not like they were getting rid of a 30-year-old player who had nothing in front of him. They got rid of a player who still had a lot of improvement, as you pointed out. So I think he has answered the challenge. I think he was pretty good with the Rams. That's the one thing where he might take issue with being in that list with Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold really wasn't good until now. Jared Goff, once upon a time, was a Pro Bowler with the Rams and got to the Super Bowl with the Rams, but I think he's taken his game to another level since then.
I think Chris and I have talked about this before. Again, I can't remember because variety pack, but I'll keep this around. Anytime I want to excuse a failure of memory on who I talked to about something, I might have been talking to Rice Krispies. I might have been talking to Frosted Flakes. I don't know. Okay, but now what the hell was I going to say? Oh.
I'm Fruit Loop, though. Do you remember? I'm Mr. Fruit Loop.
You're Fruit Loops. Okay. It's like Reservoir Dogs. You're Mr. Fruit Loops. Sims is Mr. Frosted Flakes. Devin can be Mr. Corn Flakes. And we'll take it from there. I remember what I was going to say now. I'd forgotten it twice. I knew, forgot, knew again, forgot, but now I know. The Rams would never say they regret, and no one could reasonably say they regret that trade that caused them to give up a first-round pick and a third-round pick for Stafford and tuck another first-round pick into the package so they would haul away Jared Goff. You're paying someone to haul away something that you don't want anymore. They won a Super Bowl the first year. So how can you have any regrets about that? However, Jared Goff is unexpectedly having a very impressive second life. And the Lions are going to be in sustained contention at a time where I don't know what the Rams are right now. What have they been since they won the Super Bowl? Disaster in 2022. Last year they got to the playoffs, and it was unexpected. The bar was low going in. This year it was all kind of like, well, a lot of guys injured in camp. Who really knows? And here they are at 1-3. So, yeah, they won a Super Bowl, but with each passing year, that thing gets deeper and deeper into your rearview mirror. And here are the Lions as one of the NFL's elite teams, powered by the guy that the Rams tied a first-round pick to get someone to take him away. That part of it's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Because they won the Super Bowl, because of that Matthew Stafford throwing no-look passes in the Super Bowl on the final drive to win it over the Bengals, the Rams can always say, yeah, we got the Super Bowl. We won a Super Bowl in our hometown, in our home stadium. I mean, you can't really get better than that. So they win the argument for now. But if Detroit ever wins it, and I actually think they're going to get there this year, if they actually win this thing, now you got an interesting conversation because you've got a Super Bowl winning quarterback who you got from them. You got from the Rams. He really restarted your rebuild. Same year, you get Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's all. That's starting the rebuild. So you got all the building blocks. You got a left tackle, or you got a quarterback, and you got a number one wide receiver. And one of those guys came courtesy of the LA Rams as a giveaway. So that's why I love his story. I love his story and the Detroit story. It really goes together. I always go back to that quote from Dan Campbell after the playoff game after the Rams, where he said, "Hey, you're good enough." I'm not going to say it the way he did it, but you're good enough for Detroit, Jared Goff. And that's what he is.
And the key is, and look, this continued to be my concern. This is why I've got this pendulum thing with Jared Goff. Okay, yes, he's good enough to get you to a Super Bowl. He's not good enough to win a Super Bowl, and the Rams want to win a Super Bowl, and there are flaws in his game. So he goes to Detroit, and now he gets better and better and better. And is he good enough? And this is really the question. Because we saw how far they got last year, up 17 points in the second half of the NFC Championship, and Goff wasn't able to deliver it. Now, he's not the one who decided to go for it on fourth down when they could have gone back up by 17, back up by 3 scores, and really put the 49ers in a bind midway through the third quarter, but that's attached to him. And, it was a drop, it was a misfire, whatever. It's attached to him. He didn't make the play that needed to be made to slam the door on the comeback. One of the things I said yesterday that's impressed me about Sam Darnold this year, 2 of the games the Vikings won, Darnold had to go in and slam the door with a scoring drive when it felt like the momentum had completely gone the other way. We can all feel it, even if you're not at the stadium, even if you're watching 5,000 miles away. You can feel it coming through your television that the momentum is swung and the other team needs to push it back. Goff wasn't able to push it back once the momentum started to go. We'll see what happens this year. Maybe it never gets to that point because maybe they never have to worry about a team coming back from a multi-score lead. The Seahawks kept trying, and you could argue this. He did push it back last night with the throw and catch to Jameson Williams, the 70-yarder. I mean, we're still trying to process why replay review didn't overturn the apparent catch by DK Metcalf for a 2-point conversion. And the automatic process applies even on a failed 2-pointer. Any 2-pointer, it's supposed to be automatic replay review. And we're thinking, well, what happened? What's going on here? Next thing you know, boom, there's a 70-yard throw and catch for a touchdown. So just as the Seahawks were starting to creep back, Goff answers on the first play of the drive. So maybe he does. Maybe he did learn from last year. When that team you're beating starts to creep up on you, you got to go for the throat.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point, Mike, and that was a great play in the game, and it's good to see Jameson Williams finally start to become what the Lions thought he'd be when they moved up for him in the draft.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.